everyone, and welcome to a draw and colour with me today. Today I'm going to be doing these tulips. They're absolutely beautiful flowers and I'm so excited to be having a go at drawing. As you can see on the left hand side, I've already drawn one set that I will colour and upload as a speed colouring all the way through, but this one is going to be a real time should I say, draw and colour. So I'm going to draw this now, and this part of the drawing will be to music and speed drawing because I can't explain it because I'm not a teacher. I just draw however it comes in my mind. So enjoy this part and I'll be back with the colouring section soon. Okay, so I'm gonna colour this side now. So let's get on with it. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to rub out these lines just ever so slightly. Not that I'm not going to rub hard that it takes the why have we got that there now? So that's that plant. Don't want that like that there. That's too thin. That is too thin. Yeah, so this is going to be the lightest one, so this has to be off the most. Is it going to be the lightest areas here? That's also going to have a tuck in it there. There. This plant is here, so I just need to leave the plant parts in for now. So everywhere I've got the highlight, so this front edge of the stem needs to be rubbed out. This front edge, the stem, this edge here. I'm not too worried about the things I'm rubbing out right now because they'll all be added back in when I do the colour. I'm not worried about at all. This side here is going to have the yellow. So let's do the stems first. I'm going to start off with sapphire yellow. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to run along the edge of all where I think my yellow highlight is going to be. So this is coming down here. Okay, and this stem here runs into there. And that comes, so it's going in there and then it's coming out this side here. Okay, and then all this part of this one. All this is highlight. I'm not worried about being too neat with it right now purely because it's we're going to be blending it in. This is just like marking up if you was marking with your white pencil. So everywhere where we're having our highlight, let's just get this bit in here. So our highlight's going to run along this flower here and this leaf into there like that. I don't know why. That must be there, and then that's petal leaf. And then that leaf's coming round, so that'll have a bit of a highlight here as well. Let's rub that blood out. It's a lot of rubbing out when you're hand drawing anyway. So that's going to have a bit of coming round there as well. I think I'm going to have a bit of a highlight at the top of this one here to the tip. and tilt it. So down here we're going to have this kind of trailing off a little bit. And then this side here. Again, we're just marking out, so we'll start with the blending and stuff in a second once I know where everything is going. And then we'll have, where's this coming in? Let me just look at this a second. So this one is coming in here and then round here and coming into the stem. I thought there it looked funny. There. So this one is this stem here. So we're missing, I thought it looked funny. So we're missing this highlight here into that. This one is coming into this stem here. And that's here. That's that one. That's that one. And that's that one there. This is definitely the first one. I've got myself all confused now as to which is which. Yeah, that's this one. And then the one at the back is this one. There, that's it. I get myself a bit confused. Okay, so here, this is the spring green coming round into this one. Because I like it how the leaves wrap round into the stem. So I'm joining them into the stem, into their own stems. And that'll travel down there. This comes round here. And then that's going to travel. I'll just take some of that, whiten some of that as I go. Because I'm rubbing as I go this time purely because when I did it on this side, I lost my way on it because I rubbed out too much lead and I couldn't see what I was doing. So mapping in again. And then pull this down here. I'm hoping you can see everything I'm doing so far. So then I'm coming in with pear green. Can you see that? Pear green. And everywhere we're going pear green is just towards the back of our folds on our leaves here. And this is where I'll probably start the blending processes now. I'm down the stem of this one. I'm just blending it in. And this needs to be here. That's part of the stem. And then this part of the stem. And then down this part of this stem. It'll all come together when you start putting your darks in. and then it just works out. I'll just put that yellow in there where I've missed. So all of this section here is going to be pear. And then honestly, it just blends in. It just starts coming together. Don't worry about if you don't think it is. It will start blending in. It starts looking lovely. So what I'm going to do now is map out with my olive green. So let me just sharpen this out. And this is where you'll start seeing the difference. Okay, so olive green. So I'm going to run this all the way down the edges of my stems. So this comes, even though that's going to fold into there, we're going to make it look like it's still. And as it comes folding round this side as well. Oh, I've got a wobbly so this leaf here is kind of come round and it wraps around that stem. I can't work with it when they broke. Oh, they drive me crazy. And this is where you'll start seeing your individual hopefully it doesn't break anymore. And then this back side here. So then we've got this stem here that comes down just in front of its leaf. I think this pencil's brought down there as well. So I'm mapping this out with this olive green for now. So I'll just fade that off. And then obviously just coming around the back of the back end of that leaf, joining back there. This one's lost its yellow a bit here. One in front, so I'm just going to add that back in. Because that one is then being overlapped by this one. So the back end of this leaf is going to travel to there. And then we come down here, make that across all of them, come down. Oh, this is broke again. I can feel it wobbling. Just make sure your pencil is a really fine tip if you're following along with the drawing itself. What I should have done is took a picture of the drawing and then I could have given you the PDF for it. I've never thought about that. I could always redraw it though, that's not a problem. Okay, so this one again, going down. And then this one, nope. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this here. This one is going to come out and wrap into there. I'll just bring back spring green there. Okay. So then once we've done that, and then we're going to come on the outside of this and then filling that in with the olive green. So this is olive green. And then on this side as well. Still got to make it look darker, even though we've put these lighter colours in here. You still got to make it look. Oh, something in my eye. Sorry about that. You won't see the back of that vase there. This is all going to be dark. And then I'll pick up that pear and just blend a bit more of that in. And then pick up the olive again and just take the pressure off and just blend the two in. I'm doing with pear. Because I don't want it to look like a seamless blend, because leaves and stuff like this are kind of different combinations, and the patchy, if that makes sense. Like you'll get different casts of different greens in a leaf, so that's why I want it to look like there's darker bits and then there's pear coming in between. I'm just going over the top again with pear. And then over the top again with olive, and it just warms its undertones up a little bit. And then the same with bring back pear here into the spring green, and then we go back in with the spring green, and then that sapphire yellow is just on the edge. Then come back with a sharp I'll have to empty that in a minute. And then just along the very edge here, we're then going to add that olive green to there. Just fading off of it, goes up there. And then the same with pear here. Bring in pear. Deepen that layer up into that spring green. And then bring out olive a little bit more. And spring green. Just blending out that wine a little bit more. And then reinforcing it with that sapphire yellow again, just to keep its highlight. Pushing away any excess. And then we're going to do the same over here. So where we've got our darkest areas, which is here, okay, so with the olive we're just gonna paint towards the centre. So I'm going to leave this highlight bit because if the light's coming straight onto it, I'm going to bring this right up to there, but I'm going to leave a gap. So I'm going to just soften off that edge. And then just here, I'm going to add the same thing and leave just a little bit of a gap, but I need to make like a good sharp edge there between the two flowers. And then in with spring green here, a little bit more, and there, and then pear in the centre. And then bring back olive. Same there. And spring green. And then I'm just going to bring olive and I'm just going to map out round that little bud here, because that's obviously part of our one behind it. So that'll cast a shadow here, so over the top of the colours we've just done to cast that shadow. And then I'm going to run a little tiny one down here. Let me open that up again. So I'm coming down here now to edge off the stem. There we go. So that's that bit done. And then we're going to move on to this bit here. So again, around the back of the flower here is going to be dark with olive. Just going to blend it off into nothingness. And then in here, so this one has come round and it meets there, and then just a very fine line there at the back of that stem. And then bring it out. So run a very fine line here. And bring this one down here. So I'm just bringing it out towards that centre. And tapering off. Softening the edge up for a transition. And then in with pear green. And brings in a nice little transition. And spring green. Then it slightly into the pear, and then pear back. And then back into olive green. And just blending it into pear. So what I'm going to do now, we're finished with that olive. Just going to sharpen it up so we get a nice lovely point on the end of that pencil. And we're going to travel ever so delicately and put a very fine line on the lighter edge of that stem. And it just makes it so it doesn't look as flat. Makes it pop out a lot more than if it was just flat on the page, and that's not what we want. I think I've done it on most of them anyway, so I've just got a bit here. Making sure you're keeping your edge real and neat. I mean, a stem is not perfectly straight anyway. So we're not looking for a very prominent straight edge. But I definitely don't want it to be really, really bumpy either. That's where it's been stuck in the gel. So then I want to come back in, and I'm now going to blend this line out here so it softens it up. And we'll be coming in with the black anyway to separate this stem off here. So that'll travel off up there, and I just want to put in a nice strong edge to that there. And then here, blend in this stem. Still working with the olive green. And here as well, just blending it in. And then this stem here. So just softening that off so it doesn't look as harsh. just like that. I'm going to come back in with pear. This is a lot of layering up, I know, but it makes it much nicer at the end. When it's all blended out from your layering up. I'm just travelling down the stem. And when we bring in the black later on, which is what I've done here to make it all stand out, that's when it'll come out even nicer. So yeah, this is what happens with me. I don't draw, I'm not an artist. I've not done anything. I've never studied art apart from in high school, which I absolutely loved art when I was in high school, but I never pursued anything outside of it. But when I have these moments of, right, I'm going to draw something today, this is what happens. I don't do it very often. I did it with the skull and I drew the skull. And then let me just jump back to olive green because I've just seen something here. And then I did it with my Christmas tree, and then there'll be other things I'll draw in the future. But it's my intention in the end to get my drawing more forefront. I would like to one day have my own book, my own colouring book, my own illustrations. That would be really perfect, but I need to start drawing more. So this is coming around here. I just want a gap there. Well, not a gap, but a darker shadow there because that's still the stem. And then in with pear here. Just transitioning that line out a little bit more. Same with here. Going down all the stems with this, making sure that it's nicely blended in. It's looking good already. So lastly with spring green, I'm going to blend these lines in here so it kind of transitions then into that sapphire yellow really nicely then across the whole of the drawing. But these are special for my mum and my mother-in-law and my nana. So I'm going to draw them, but then I'm going to scan them in, one of them in for my nan. Which will be nice for her. She'll love it. And so will my mum and my mother-in-law. Sometimes when it comes from the heart, like this, it's much better. And just here, blending all them in. Just going over the top using the lightest one as my blender. I'm just going to sharpen sapphire yellow. It doesn't want to sharpen, it must be full. I'm going to use this one so I can empty it. Honestly, you wouldn't believe how many pieces of video I've got to make this, to put it together. And when I know I've done with these, I'll move on to the flowers. So I've done the colours that are special, that I like, that stand out for me for reasons. Or the reasons why I've chosen them. So I hope you enjoy this little bit of different video from me today. I'm just going to now move on to black. So moving my whole of my unit then. I'm going to run black all along this edge here. Now with this, I need it to be sharp, I need it to be smooth, so I'm using it more controlled. And I'm taking my time with it. So as I said, I'm going to run up this stem here so that stem stands out from the rest of the colouring, or the rest of the leaf. I want it to stand out. And then same here at the back edge. This just gives it more dimension, or definition should I say, dimension. I suppose it is still the same thing. And first I'm just going to put the mapping of it all in. Now I'm going to put in where we've got crossed over stems here. The black's going to go in. Oh, I want my shadow there between that. It's going to go in. And the same here is going to go in. I wanted to draw it all so you knew I'd done it freehand. Because I like creating. I think art is definitely in my bones and my blood and things like that. I just don't know the professional side of it. I don't know all the technical terms because I've never studied it more than GCSE. So I think when it comes to the technical stuff, it's not something I can talk about because I don't really know about hues, about tones. I only know what I've picked up in my colouring experience over the years, things that I've learned off other people, the technical side of stuff. So I couldn't tell it how I do it from an artist profession. Just tell you how I've done it from me, from my brain really. So if there is stuff I'm doing wrong from this, I do apologise. But I don't even think, in my eyes, I don't think there is a right and a wrong to art. It's subjective and everyone looks at art in a different way. And I honestly don't believe there's a right and wrong in it. I'm just going to lightly travel this black down so it just disappears. And then here it's going to have a shadow from that stem. And then this stem here is also going to have a shadow from the stem above. It's going to be a shadow coming from that stem there. This is going to cast a shadow. Yeah, this is going to have a shadow here. Well, this is the next step. You spend this time adding these in. This is what brings your pictures to life, basically. So they're not just flat on your page. But you don't have to use black. You can use a darker green. But I just like black just because I just like black. I become friends with my black in my makeup days, so for me, I'm not scared of using black anymore, where I know some people are. And what I'm also doing, I'm not blending. If you can see, I'm leaving not a harsh edge, but not a completely blended out edge, because it's a shadow from this. And shadows don't have completely blended out, but they do soften off at the edge. And you can look at any shadow anywhere like that, and it will always have a soft edge. But not that soft that it just fades out to nothing. But it's not so defined in all areas either. So this will cast a shadow here on these two, and that will have a slight shadow from that stem there as well. And I think that looks right. So we'll move on to the actual flowers now. So for these, I've these out of the colours I don't need, because I end up with loads of stuff on my desk and I'm like, oh. So I'm going to start off with this lemon yellow. I'm going to put that in the centre there of this one first. And then I'm getting my darkest blue, which is indigo. So this one is lemon, you can see that. And this one is indigo. So I'm going to get right from the centre and pull that down into that there. Okay. And then from that, I'll travel outwards from that dark and do it both on both sides. And then moving to ultramarine, trying to move it into like an electric kind of blue. And then we're moving into sapphire blue. And then before we get to the end, I'm going to bringing in periwinkle, and really softening that off. And periwinkle. What I'm going to do is just flick towards the edge with that. And then I'll bring in the white. So here, before I actually do the white, I'm going to take that drawing out. I can still faintly see where the lines are, but nobody else can. I think I'm going to have to get my other white out from the other set. Just bear with me a second. Can't use that white anymore. Just sharpen this. And hopefully this one's not a breaker. So this tulip is more opening than the others. And I'm just getting that and I'm dragging it towards the centre. And running that just down the edge of that centre bit. That's what it has on the and go back with indigo. And I'm just flicking at this point now. Got my base layer down and I'm just flicking. So I've done quite a few different techniques to all of the flowers. So then ultramarine, flicking once again. And then we've got sapphire blue. And periwinkle. And just grab the very dark one again and just run that nice edge down there. Back with the white. Pull it. And then obviously I'll edge it with the other one. So I'm just going to take the darkest one and I'm just going to blend that yellow in a little bit more. We'll get a bit of a greeny tinge to it, but we don't mind. There we go. This is the flower I'm using. It's very rare, so I'm just taking it off that. So then just this bit down here is yellow. And I'll just get this green. I'll take this free edge out here. Very lightly. I'm back in with the white and the white comes to here. So the yellow is just ever so slightly at the bottom. Coming down with indigo and we're coming in from the very top, same line we're putting in here. And then from that we're just blending that, meeting that line there. Same here, meeting that line there. And then next up, ultramarine. Just like that. Sapphire blue. Periwinkle. Just really softening that off. And then back with the white. I'm going to pull it this way. back to the centre. And then we're going to go back to the start. I'm going to make that vein in the centre deeper. And then we're going to come down the edge of it with the white. And the arteza white is doing well on this paper as well, I must admit. Then back with indigo, and we're going to flick just like this, like a fan. Then ultramarine. And then sapphire blue. I need to get some rubbers on this desk. Making sure that little highlight I've put in there stays. And then we're flicking towards that white layer with periwinkle. Okay, the other side, taking the free edge out. Just leaving it so I can see ever so slightly what I've done, but it won't mark the white. Then bring the white down here to there. Back with indigo. Pulling it from that point at the top down towards our centre. And just deepen it back up. And then off we go again. So we're just coming up to that point, not widening it, just coming up to that point with the pencil. Then ultramarine to the white. Then sapphire blue. The little line of sapphire blue. And then periwinkle. And flick it a bit rather than colour it. And just sharpen that free edge a bit more. And then flick your white inwards. And then run our white down the centre spine. So all I've got is the reference picture, and then I'm just doing my take off that picture. So again, here we are with the indigo, and I'm just going to flick like a fan out. Then ultramarine. And then sapphire blue. And then periwinkle. Okay, so then there'll be no yellow on this next section. So I'm just going to take out the free edge that we've left drawn in there. Okay. I'm just drawing that shape in again with the white pencil. You see they've not took enough of that lead out, so you can still see my drawing underneath. I'll just give it a bit more of a tickle there. Okay, then in with our darkest colour again. And this time, along the free edge of this white, being careful as we go. That way up to there. Then next up is ultramarine. And sapphire blue. These sections get smaller as I get to the edge. Periwinkle. Okay, then we're coming in with the white. Flicking towards the centre. And then where that centre line is, I'll just put that back in, would be helpful, wouldn't it? Spine around here. You'll see the same thing on the inside as you see on the outside. And flick that then towards that outer edge. Ultramarine. Sapphire blue. I'm just flicking all of them over the top of each other, and I'm just being careful towards that edge. Periwinkle. And white edge back. Okay, and I'll take this edge out here. Again, I'm gonna come up and find that edge there. And I'm gonna get the darkest one, indigo. I'm gonna bend that out like that. So I want to give it that impression that it's folding in, the petals folding in. These are coming out, so they'll look pretty straight, but these need to have that dip. And then we run along that edge there. And then ultramarine. Then sapphire blue. And we're just blending them into each other here, just nice medium pressure, nothing too heavy because you want the strokes to appear. And then periwinkle towards that white edge. Okay, white pencil back, flick towards the centre. And then the spine bit, just put that in that we've been doing on every petal. That's indigo. Ultramarine, flicking again. Sapphire blue. Periwinkle. And then lastly, I'm just going to do the back one. Take its edge off. And then pop that in. Go. Into ultramarine. A little bit of sapphire blue. Into periwinkle. Flicking back in with the white. And then in the centre of the spine. Flicking with indigo. Flicking with sapphire blue. I've just missed the one right before because there's not as much space here. Flicking with periwinkle. And then lastly, the white. And what I'm going to do, I'll try my signal uniball actually this time. This seems to play ball more. So I'm going to edge this off with that. So edging it like this. And just pull that down into the flower. Please, someone tell me a white gel pen that's really good, and don't say jelly roll because that's even worse. These are all driving me potter. That they're not. I'm really impressed with these flowers, how they're coming out actually. Okay, so I've got 2 more down here. So again, I'm going to rub out one at a time just so I don't lose where it is. All here is the yellow, and I'm going to flip that yellow out. I think that's going to be white on both of them. So out comes the white pencil, and then I'm just going to do this. Just like that. And then sharpen my pencil. Nice little sharp point. I want to give me a point. Okay, so I'm just going to run that. On either side. And it's just going to travel into there. And then from there, ultramarine. On either side of there. Same here, just overlapping that yellow. And then ultramarine. Just a simple blend between colours. They don't necessarily all fit the same colour family, but I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm doing it because I want these different colours to show up in between. The ultramarine on here, forgot to do this side. And then this is sapphire blue. And then periwinkle just on the edge. Okay, and then my white pencil, making that spine. Oh. And the white pencil on this side. Bringing that back into the centre. The white. Don't you all know now, by now, which colours I'm using? So I need to bring the yellow into this one. And then just pull it up a little bit there. take that lead bit off there and a little bit there. And put that petals edge in there and there. And then this one will be coming in here. And just go to the edge of that white with indigo, then ultramarine. I mean, by all means at this point, if you would want to flick all these colours in, you can, but I just find it easier to do it this way. This one is sat behind this one. And then periwinkle. And then I'm going to bring the white into that periwinkle, flicking it back towards the centre. And then we've got that centre vein that we want in. I just need to sharpen this. I need to keep my white pencil sharp. Ultramarine again. And then we're flicking from there outwards. Then ultramarine. And sapphire blue. I'll go up into that. And then periwinkle. And then the other part is just here. I'm just going to rub that out. And that petal is there. And you're just going to see a little tiny bit of blue bending like that. And that'll spread out. You won't see very much of this here. And then sapphire into there. And then a tiny bit of ultramarine. And then I think I've just done them wrong way around actually. So then our white pencil just to get that spine in. And then indigo flicking. And a bit of sapphire. I think we'll leave that at that because you can't really see that much. And then we've got this one. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And then this one, just let me rub this line here. I've got to put the white edge in here. And the white edge down there. But it's going to have an ultramarine, it's going to have an indigo line here, bending. And it's also going to have the same indigo line here, running up to the top. Yeah, because it's the back side and the front side of it. Okay, so with our ultramarine, with our lemon, sorry, run lemon up the centre here. Same on this side. And I've got to do the same. I've got to rub out this edge here for the white pencil. Oh, tiny bit of that ultramarine there, and then it comes down here. And then here we've got the white edge. As well as the white edge for that petal there. So we'll add that in just to make sure. So then we just need a little bit of the indigo here, tiny bit. Same in the centre. Same in this side, tiny bit. Then ultramarine, tiny bit on this side and a tiny bit on that side. Okay, and then sapphire, tiny bit again. Like, these are hardly noticeable amounts, to be honest. I need to fit periwinkle in. I've got periwinkle, just finishing it off. I'm gonna have to add some more white here. So I'm going to bring the white down into this and the white down into that. And obviously this is white here. Okay. So there's too small to do the flicking side. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make sure I've put in the little free edge there and there down the spine of that flower, and just see it ever so slightly there and there and in there. Then I'm going to take this one out here and put my white edge in, continuing on from here. And then in with my sapphire yellow. I'm going to go up to a point there and then flick like that. And that indigo is going to come from here down into there. And that's when we're going to start blending in. Stop there at the edge. Pull it up to that centerpiece, not widening this at all. You're just widening this area here and blending that into the yellow. Next up, ultramarine. Not going any wider there, just here. And sapphire. Just in there. And then periwinkle. And then I'm going to bring the white in towards periwinkle and flicking it inwards. And then I'm going to come down this edge here with that pencil. And down here. And I'm back to an indigo. Looking outwards with periwinkle. Sorry, not periwinkle, indigo. It's really important that you don't press on when you're doing your underlayers, because you need these to shine through the blending you've done underneath. sapphire blue. And then periwinkle. Okay, I'm just going to take out these last three here. And put these edges in here. And the indigo. So again, I'm going to go from the top and bend them. And top and bend it in. And top and bend it in. And then continue out in that triangular pattern there. And ultramarine, just a tiny bit on these. We're going to get less detail on these smaller ones. Sapphire blue. And then periwinkle. White pencil, let me just sharpen it again. I need to keep my point really sharp, hence why I'm constantly sharpening it. Okay, and then we're flicking ultramarine, folding it down a little bit there. Ultramarine. I think I just said the other one was ultramarine, but it wasn't. It was indigo. This is ultramarine. I think I'll leave them back ones at that. And they look absolutely stunning. All I want to do now is just get the indigo on this section here and just put a dark little edge in against that there. Same with this one here. Just so you can differentiate between each petal. Oh, I just did that there, just ruined that there. Okay, and then come back with the white gel pen. I'm just going to get that going again. See how much is on back of my hand? Just to get these things going. I've got so many different ones out and none of them are working. Let's try the smaller one. This one's deciding to play for a minute. Come on. It doesn't want to play ball. I'm going to write to Arteza about these because they're getting shocking now. And I think I'm going to retract my review that I did of them. Because I can't back something and have something saying it's a good review when they're not. They only work when they feel like working. I'm going to get to work on here more. It's just going over just the very edge of that white Arteza pencil, just to make it stand out that little bit more. Get a nice free edge. And then same with up here. Finish this one. No, it don't want to work again. I'm not even pressing on hard to see if I can get so the roller ball's not getting stuck in it, but it's a nightmare. Okay, so let's do the glass now. And then it's done. So what I'm going to do, all this jelly at the bottom, I want to look blue. So I'm just going to put all along there is blue. Get indigo. Same colours as we've used at the top. Just around here. And because these are in blue, I need to go over the top of them. That's wrong blue. I'm going over the top of the green. But this is like a jelly, don't forget. It's not a water. I'm not doing a water. It's a jelly that you see in some bars where you've got not real plants. So then I'm going to come in here where the gel is like sat in a hole. I'm just going to come out towards the centre with this. So the dark will be going over the top of the stems. You can imagine. And then come in with sapphire blue. And then these. Purpose is slightly darker just there. Periwinkle back. And then just fill that middle section in. And then deepen this up here. Darker one? Nope. Back with the darkest again. Just really emphasising that line there. Okay. So I'm just going to do the black now. So now I'm just using shadow grey. And I'm going to edge it all in shadow grey first. Like this. So this side will be the lightest grey because I'm having the light coming over here. Sorry, this one, which is concrete grey, the lighter grey on this side. It's not loads lighter, but it's light enough. Okay, then down here I just need black for the base. So across here you'll see that there's the other part of the glass, or should we say like the bottom. Need to add that in because obviously it's all, and just shade that in. But I want it to have a blue tinge obviously because there's a blue gel. So try and keep your lines as equal as possible. And then here we're going to have what I call the bottom of the vase creases that comes in and round like that, and just darken up that edge. And this just helps bring that symmetrical shape, and if you have to turn your page upside down to create it, then do so, because if you don't, you're not going to get that glass look. And then same here. And let's center in. I'm going to then just give it a nice little shade of dark just on that edge. Okay, and then with shadow, which is our darkest one, I'm going to put what I would call another shadow in here. And this is like the back of the glass, if you can imagine. And then maybe another one here. And this is just reflection and different things going on. Same here. And this one is going to run kind of all the way down here. And then kind of putting a bit of a shadow behind these. And then what I'm going to do with that now, the white pencil, I'm going to bring in my white shadows, which will cross over these black ones. Not bothered about that. And then I'm going to come round. I'm going to add some of these in here. And some more over here. And always maintaining that round shape, so don't put straight lines in a shape that's round, because that won't look right. You can over the base here, but what I'm suggesting we do here is it's like a straight curved. And I'm going to fill this in probably with white paint, because I need it to take out the whole of that section. There's another one here. These are just all light reflections of what's going on around. So for this I'll use a reference picture. So on this glass vase here, I see all these white bits, and that's just reflecting off what lights are in the background. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm imagining that the glass is, you know, the round shape that we're getting on the glass. And some will be on the front and some will be on the back. So all this side here, lightest grey here. And these will be like your back highlights. What's going on the other side. Light reflecting through to that. Just so that one was fog grey that I've just used. And then I'm just going to blend this in. This is concrete grey. Then go back with fog grey here and fill in this area with that. So here I want a bit of concrete grey again. I'm just going to add another part of the shadow in here. And it just helps give it all that shape that you need in. To make it look more like glass. So I'm going to bring a bit of white here. And then another, like a round line. And then we've got a bit of white here. Let's bring in stone grey. You see stone grey? and fill in all this other background now. I'll use this to kind of blend out the darker greys that are there as well. And I'm not blending anything in at this point because I like how these little lines are appearing just from this blending out. I need to bring some white in over here. I'll use the gel pen as well, of course, on this bit. Let's just burnish some more of this out. Now I've got a bit of blue going on there. Okay, so this dark shadow grey, I just need to now bring that out a little bit. So just take that harsh edge off. So what I want to do now, I'd probably use white Posca actually at this point. I want it to really blot out, really bright in them areas. So in here I want this completely blotted out. So where these are, the few here, and then there's another line here. And flick a little thin line there, and there on that, little line there. Turn this round, and got a white big line there. Okay. And then here I just want little lines just coming off here. That's getting picked up. And then just like that there. And I think that, everybody, completes my drawing of my Mother's Day cards for my mummies and mum-in-law. And I'm really proud of that. Actually, I am. So thank you very much for watching, and this, everybody, is the end result. So I've made beautiful little cards. This one I went a bit too big, so I've had to kind of improvise. So there'll be a card here that I'll write on, and then she can frame that whole piece in an A4 frame. And then this one is like a slim card that I'm going to put an insert in the middle, paper insert in the middle with a nice little message on. They're my Mother's Day cards and they're just glued on. And then I've also taken prints. I've scanned it in and printed it off as well, so I can do more if I want to. So thanks everyone for tuning into this video. It has been a very long one, but just want to show you what you can do when you get a bit creative. See you on my next video. Bye everyone.